Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. In the last episode, we brought Jake Marshall to the stand, and we learned about his connection to a Neil Marshall who was listed as one of the victims in the SL9 incident case files. Specifically, one prosecutor Neil Marshall was the brother of Jake Marshall. And since his brother was killed by Joe Dark during the tail end of the incident, right before Joe Dark was brought to justice and brought to trial, Jake had a very personal interest in the case, especially because he felt that the case was resolved in such a way to where there was some kind of obvious cover-up, something that happened behind the scenes that just made the whole case stink to him. So for the longest time, Jake Marshall has been basically hounding for any information or people that he can in order to figure out what actually happened during the SL9 incident. Because he just didn't want to let he didn't want the truth, or at least what he felt was the truth of his brother's death, just fade into nothingness. So, since the day of the murder was the last day before the case could be reopened again, Jake Marshall felt that he had only one last opportunity to do something about it. So to that end, he stole Goodman's ID card, disguised himself as him, and tried to go into the special evidence room to take the evidence from his locker. But as we pretty much demonstrated for last couple episodes, that plan pretty much went up in smoke, thanks to the intervention of one Officer Meekins. And even before then, his plan would have been all for nothing, because as we figured out, the evidence was already taken before Jake even showed up inside there. Which kind of leads into another thing that we discovered. One of the bloody handprints in the room, specifically the one on Gumshoe's locker, was apparently left before anybody else showed up, even Edgeworth. So that leaves only one possibility as to when the handprint could have been left there. At 4:20 p.m., specifically when someone going with the ID number 777777 went in there. So this pretty much opens up the strong possibility that that blood was spilt twice within the evidence room, and the first time that it was spilt was likely when Bruce Goodman was killed for real. So we have to try to figure out what the whole mystery is surrounding the identity of 77777. How exactly the handprint got there? How exactly the handprint got there? Anything else that we can use to show what actually happened during that time. Oh, and second, right at the end of the trial, Jake asked Lana if all the evidence that was available for the SL9 incident court proceedings was actually used during it. And well, Lana kind of revealed, well, there were times when they, as in the prosecutor's office, or she in particular, felt powerless to bring justice to people that she and anyone else who thought like her felt needed justice brought to them because they were constrained by the law. So, to that end, they would sometimes use extreme methods in order to get the results they wanted, even if it meant forging evidence. And the SL9 case was apparently no different in this respect. It caused a massive fucking uproar within the peanut gallery in the courtroom, to say the least. So much so that the trial has had to have been suspended, and well, here we are, about to do another round of investigating. So, yeah, a lot of stuff went down yesterday. And a lot more stuff is going to be going down before this whole chapter is even over. I can promise you that. But enough recapping. Let's go ahead and get started. February 24th, 3:12 p.m. Wright & Co. Law Offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. You're not responsible for it. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the guilty verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. Well, what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. Yikes. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you. Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. Didn't see that one coming. Evidently not. Hey, Charlie. He is Plant Charlie. I'm taking care of him in Maya's absence. Huh? He's a little yellow today. Oh, I watered him just now. I mixed in a lot, too. Mixed in... what? Why, my very own scientific additive. Well, Charlie, you like it? I told you, he's turning yellow! What'd you put in there? If you're gonna feed him anything that'll turn him yellow, feed him this badge. See this? It's my attorney's badge. Ah! Well, I've never seen a real one before. You're the first one who's actually been interested in mine, believe me. Its composition is mostly silver. The gold plating is flaking a bit. She analyzed it, scientifically. There doesn't appear to be any corrosion due to sulfides. I'd give you $50 for it. Sorry, but it's not for sale yet. Okay, nothing new on that. So, talk to me. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day. Unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. But before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. Permanent picture. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. What happened after the incident? I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provide bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence, and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes. I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. Rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. Well, I guess the rumors are half true then. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she was today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did. Especially not to Emma. Tell me about this current picture of yours. What did you see in the instant that the crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently, I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You must have been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. Well, let's discuss it. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective. I better have another talk with her. Yes, we should. Can you tell me a little more about this? It seems everything is somehow related to this incident. What was it labeled again? The SL9 incident? Yes. The name of everyone connected to this trial is listed here. All that's left is to figure out just what role everyone plays in this case. If we searched hard enough, I think we'll find our answers. What exactly did or didn't Lana do? I'm not sure I want to know everything. Well, we gotta figure it out eventually. Otherwise, well, we're pretty much dead in the water. Let's go say hi to Lana. Not gonna be turning your back to me in that chair of yours? I'm disappointed. Lana, Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? Because it would just undermine the whole purpose of the justice system, maybe? Playing foul? Just because the criminals do it? Otherwise, where's the justice? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about that unusual change of jobs. I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Okay, before we get started, look at this thing. Attorneys and prosecutors have no business showing evidence outside of court. It's taboo, especially when the interests of both parties are involved. She really means it. You're my client? You don't have to keep shit hidden from me? Lana. Okay, fine. Let's just talk about today's trial. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one, 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. At trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. Well, tell me about your time as a detective. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant. He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked at crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, I became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office, and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. I think this is very crucial information you should divulge with us. Damon, Gant, and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So we waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there he ran straight to the offices shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. They must have been real shit guards here if they were able to let him slip through. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana. It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies. Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her. After all, her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, I would disagree that's a coincidence. I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Well, you're also forgetting Angel Star. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder. Well, after all this time, it's very unlikely that you're going to find, well, usable evidence, realistically speaking, but you never know. Let's go to criminal affairs. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here today. You're right. The chief of detectives seems the same, though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. What are you up to, Chief? That man must be the chief of detectives. He's staring at the screen so hard it might shatter. What? Dark case may have been fabricated. That's what I thought all along. I just never bothered to tell anyone. Now there's a guy who cares about his work. You should probably be fired. That must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. That's it. The villain used a time machine. Very clever indeed. That would explain the alibi. The future might not be so far away after all. He's not writing a report. He's writing a novel. Yeah, he's still at it, clearly. Police department entrance. Let's try here. You're not Sweet Shoe. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. Never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. You Sierra. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go into the evidence room today, partner. Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? He already explained it during court. Why do prosecutors head west? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. No, you will not. This is the badge that beat you in court today. I want you to take a good hard look at it. Mr. Marshall, could you please have a look at this? Sorry, Bambina. I'm not a patrolman anymore, and I'm certainly not a detective. I'm nothing more than a wanted man now. These old eyes of mine have seen too much as it is. Okay, fine. Tell me about Dark's trial. Something fishy about that trial from the beginning. Yeah, there is. I was wondering when we'd get your silhouette in here. Serial killer responsible for the SL9 incident 2 years ago was given the death penalty. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. Murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, all right. But in the initial autopsy report, the question was raised. Question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wounds the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. Dun dun dun. However, in the report that was finally submitted, the possibility had been erased. The facts have been concealed with forged evidence? Possibly. That case left behind scars on all of us. Scars that the SL9 incident left behind. So tell us about your brother. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when I went down. It was our first case together. How old was he? Your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The SL9 incident took place. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have already gone by. Why can't I read today? I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. Tell me about the scars. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and the second command, Lana Skye. There wasn't a person in the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. On a secret. It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? Maybe a little. It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. What, this guy? I mean, look at him. Does he look like a sinister mastermind to you? Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Adios, cowboy. So I can't go to the chief's office yet. So maybe I should just try going to the underground parking lot first. No one's here today. Not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking to what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. I don't see anything new, so let's go say hi to Edgeworth. I see that blue pawn is still in trouble on that chess set he's got over there. Mr. Edgeworth isn't here. Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee? He took a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago, I guess we'll have to come back later. Okay, I guess let's just try going back here again. There we go. We got something different. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. The chief prosecutor is saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth. Not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir? We'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building, and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Good going, Emma. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Well. Okay, I guess we're just gonna ignore him then. I want that pipe organ. I want it right now. Give it to me. Whoa. Where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what's said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. What kind of kindergarten teaches organ lessons? They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. I never could remember where C was. Hey there, Orange Man. How you doing? Really, though, I mean, your skin tone almost matches your suit. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. Well, then again, maybe a few shades different, but yeah. So, Righto. Have you been swimming lately? Oh, I've been swimming all right in court, and I almost keep drowning. No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full, too, with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? Yep. That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. I noticed 3 things in this picture right off the bat. Number 1, that award that Neil Marshall's holding. You notice how it looks different from the award that Edgeworth's got in his office? And 2, right behind the 3 of them, you notice a familiar object in the background? And 3, Jake did say during the investigation when they did an autopsy on Neil Marshall's body, the possibility was raised that Joe Dark's switchblade knife may not have been the weapon that was used to stab and kill Neil Marshall. So if it was not, and if the murder happened right here in this office, then there's at least 2 different sharp-bladed objects in this room at the time of the murder. One was a switchblade. As for the other one, I'll let you guys figure it out. Anyway, that's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite put my finger on it, though. Well, I already did, so don't worry. I got it all under control. Gant team picture. Photo at the award ceremony of Gant, Lana, and Neil. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office. It was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied a request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You think? You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Well, let's go look around. Sweet Shoe! There you are. Maybe you can help us. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe. Aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Poor Sweet Shoe. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. It sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. I falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. No kidding. Before we talk, look at my badge. Detective, here's my attorney's badge. You show this to me every time we meet, pal. Force the habit. Real men show their police badge. Enough said. I wish I had a badge. Even an ID card would be nice. You have your student ID, don't you? So tell me about Ward Boy's crisis. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye's a guilty party here, isn't she? Sorry, Emma, but I gotta be honest. Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor has kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey, Dick! Keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. I find that difficult to believe that you're able to not stick out. I mean, it's you. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. I'm sure a lot of people would. So, what do you know about the SL9 incident? Actually, I took a look at the file earlier, while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl? Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Well, I'll give him credit. At least he's trying his best. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Sure, I'll do that in a second. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. Okay. With his car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes. But it transformed him into an animal. Go on. An animal. He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed... Oh, the kid had walked by then, so he killed him too. Then he was burying the bodies. A jogger came up on scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Sounds like the guy panicked, something fierce. Seems like he was a pretty careless animal. Well, again, sounds to me like he was panicking. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. He turned himself in for all those murders. And yet, that wasn't enough for the prosecution to arrest him? Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered the final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness. AKA Emma. Poor Emma. Okay, I need you to look at this so you can get your memory jogged a bit. About this. Hey, is that... There's a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, I'm glad to see my little plan worked. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. Yeah, that'd be bad. This knife. It was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it, too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well, anyway. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, near Marshall, was carrying it. Inside his own body. That would be incriminating. is found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Stark's knife? You bet. Down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. So how would the tip of the knife break inside someone's body like that, though? Is what I'm curious about. Okay, Neil's autopsy report. Stabbed in the back, died from punctured heart and lung. A knife tip was found in the wound. Got this updated. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The Chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around, if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. That would be unfortunate for you, wouldn't it? Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's someone we could show him that would make him change his mind. Someone that would make him change his mind. I don't think I have anything right now. So I think what I'll do is I'll just go look around a bit some more. Are you back yet, Edgeworth? I think so. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is. It looks like he's writing something. Huh! What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years of rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. Not like you're any better with that sassy head of yours. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. Forged evidence. Why don't you tell me about that? There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase that fact. Well, you didn't know, did you? I mean, that the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. The fact remains the same, no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why? Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. So we got one more trial day tomorrow. Are you ready for it, Warthog? Sorry, that's your car. That's right. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. Well, fuck you too, Wart Boy. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial. Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture. Something seems strange about it. Yeah, I'll present that to you in a minute. Day of the crime. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered. You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes. Just odds and ends. Clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Yeah, Chief Gant asked you to do that, didn't he? Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes. It was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. Before I show you that picture, I want to take a look at that thing you threw on the floor here. I wonder what he was writing it for. Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no! He's falling to the ground! Hold on. First, let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. Poor Sweet Shoe. Not even his lord and master cares about him. He didn't even look. What? Letter of... If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation. Resigning, are we? Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. The path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation. Wonder if I can use it for anything. Probably Sweet Shoe. Letter of resignation. Edgeworth's discarded letter of resignation. He's serious. Are you completely serious, though? They say where there's smoke, there's fire. Apparently I was so caught up in the smoke, I lost sight of the truth. Edgeworth. The others are right. I have no right to serve as a prosecutor. But Mr. Edgeworth, you were only doing your job. I've always made my own decisions about what I can or cannot do. That hasn't changed. Forgiving myself is something I cannot do. Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. We already read this. Maybe looking at my badge will cheer you up. I once dreamed of being a defense attorney a long time ago. What? You want to be a defense attorney, Mr. Edgeworth? Yet, a clear path is laid out before me. I have no time to look back on what might have been. Oh. Okay. Enough screwing around. I need you to take a look at something else. This picture. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. It looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes. That trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours. So it is. Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Contradiction, eh? This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though? For Emma's sake. It's okay, Squeenix. We know that you don't know. Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Shu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with 2 items. First was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute.
Objection!
Those claims contradict each other! Very perceptive. But then again, you heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. And thus, the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and the broken knife symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow. Thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant. Interesting. That's another thing I gotta ask Orange Man about. 2 years ago, the halberd was removed at Gant's behest, giving it its current form. You know, it wouldn't hurt if you put this up somewhere, like on a shelf. That has no meaning for me anymore. What do you mean, anymore? That's who I was last year. What good is it to dwell on the past? He's asking me? Ugh, why can't you just accept it graciously? Actually, something's been troubling me about this shield. Look, you know something different? Different? Yeah, don't you remember? The other shield in the court record? We already went over this. I guess I better present this other shield. I think that's everything, so let's go talk to Sweet Shoe again. But I guess first we gotta talk to somebody else. Excuse me. I had a feeling it'd be you. Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Maybe. Miss Star! I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't all be attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene that I happened to witness. The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. Miss Starr's hatred towards Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. So, tell us more about the Dark investigation. Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though. Must have been going through hell. Even because his brother's death. They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. My sister? The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant. After the case closed. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong. Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. You mean with you getting sacked? After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? We'll get to that in just a minute. Damon, Gant, and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation, with Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes. There were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him, though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Including you. Really? Oh yes. Myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked, and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. A star. That's why. I'll never be able to forgive her. Why'd she have to turn so cold after that? Well, I think I can understand your motivations a bit more. But we should probably talk about why you think she's being used. Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief, Gant's powerful influence. Chief. That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. Prosecutor's office. The prosecutor's office. What? You mean, that's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. Having complete control over the police force and the prosecutor's office. That would effectively mean he'd have control over the entire legal proceedings, almost. That's a frightening amount of power for one person to have. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. Last, finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Sure seems that way. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Don't you worry about it. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this thing, and I'm gonna bring this whole messy affair to a close. Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ! What do DJs have to do with this sort of thing? You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think it means desk jockey. Oh. Oh, that kind of DJ. Oh, that DJ. I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer is still no. I'm not letting you to the chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Like showing him this? What's this crumbled up piece of paper? You know, I forgot. I keep forgetting I can examine this shit. Due to recent events, I hereby announce my resignation as public prosecutor. I really wrote a resignation letter. Wow. Even when resigning, Edgeworth is cool and concise. So it wasn't his fault. Someone has to be held responsible. That's how that's how it is in the grown-up world. Yeah, but that responsibility means nothing if he just quits. Well, not everyone sees it that way. To truly take responsibility, you should have to work the rest of your life for no pay. That's one tough grown-up world there. No kidding. No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him. Detective. That's it. I made up my mind. But, here. Take my ID card. Thank you! We can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. Finally admitting it to yourself, are you? After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this. For Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Well, when faced with that kind of outcome, I mean, really, what's the difference? How much more different is it going to be in the end if you just risk yourself now, or just face possibly getting fired later anyway? All right, Detective. Thank you. Gumshoe's ID, a police department ID, allows access to areas of the PD open to detectives. Yep, that's definitely him. Detective Gumshoe isn't very photogenic, is he? Whatever you do, just don't say that to his face. Look, his eyes are half shut. Yeah, and his mouth is half open. Are you two blind? Hey, each of his shirt buttons is off a notch. He's got the narrow end of his tie in front. I think this goes beyond being a photogenic issue. You two need glasses. Big time. Alright, let's go in here. Here goes, Mr. Wright. Well, we're here. Let's start looking around a bit. We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Eek! Gah! Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Yeah! Detective Gumshoe! What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too. If you're here, then what's the point of giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Squeenix is angry. Hey, don't do that to my card! I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Now, if we're lucky. Now, come on. Let's see what we can find out. Got a bad feeling about this. Let's take a look around. Wow. Look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier... Oh, it's you two. Put a paper away in his desk. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence. In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though. Hey, look at the case name. Huh? SL9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, Detective. What did you just say? I said, I wonder what... No, about the evidence lists. Knowing they're twice as long? That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. A half-sized list of evidence. The list of evidence seems too short. What would the other half of the list be doing here? Well, I would say it's because our good old chief of police here didn't want the other half to be found. I knew it. The chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. Evidence list. List of the evidence in the SL9 incident was ripped in half, so this part is all I've got. Let's take a look at this thing. Hey, look at what we got here. This looks very familiar. I wonder what this is. Looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here. What is it? Did you find something? Can't make it out. Gotta keep quiet about it for now. Huh? Oh, no, it's nothing. Why are your eyes moving about like that, Mr. Wright? Better not forget this picture. Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. We found this inside the drawer. A list of evidence from the SL9 incident. Mr. Edgeworth has the other half of that list. What would this list be doing here? We better look a little more into this list. Probably should. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons? Sure is, pal. The Chief doesn't care for imitations. First a pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. You're in high school. Do you even pay? I don't think you even pay taxes. You don't have any taxes to pay. Shh. Be careful what you say. Who knows? The Chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. Oh, I already have a good idea of how scary he can be. You can see pretty far from 15 stories up. If you were to drop that suit of armor from here, first the Chief wanted to use stained glass for this window. Really? Why didn't he? They say he changed his mind because he wouldn't be able to see the view. Oh. Stained glass or not, it's a huge window. Chief's organ sure is a sight to behold. Occasionally we hear him playing it from the Criminal Affairs Department. It's on the 2nd floor. This is the 15th floor of an entirely different building. When the detective screws up, the Chief calls them to his office and makes them listen to the organ for hours. What an unusually cool punishment. What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul. After that, the detective can't hear anything for days, except for the ringing in their ears. So it's an instrument of punishment. Literally. But aren't the Chief's ears affected? He never listens to anyone anyway. That's beside the point. Maybe he's got earplugs in that skull of his. Look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside. If you're feeling suicidal, sure. This is the 15th floor. I know! I was just saying. Saying what? Ever since making detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that. Note to self. Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams. So as long as he doesn't go crashing through that window when he gets fired. Don't say that. A likely possibility. These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture frame on the left shelf. Hey, this is when Lana and I went into that theme park. Why would she leave that here? Oh, whoops. This was taken on that day 2 years ago. The day Joe Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here, then went along with Chief Gant to question Dark. I bet I never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later. Gee, you think? This was Lana's desk. Sure is tidy. Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner. There's not even any dust on it. Looks like someone's still keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here? No. Chief Gant must still keep it clean in memory of their partnership. They were the stuff of legends. The stuff legends are made of. Does he keep it in memory of her, or in memory of the crime? Well, that's a good question. You know what's an even better question? What's in the safe? This is a safe, isn't it? Safe. That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay. If you say so. It looks like a code needs to be entered into this panel to open it. A 7-digit number. I think I might just know what it is. I think I might know what it is, too. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. You want to try my birth date? It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. So... that ID number that we have yet to account for, the 77777777 number, I'm going to try to input it here. Bingo! That almost sounds like a microwave ding. Bingo. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal? 77777777. The final ID card on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 77777777? That ID number? I think you're 17 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Well, for all we know, it could just be he likes the number 7. Say, anyone care to look inside? Yep. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's a shard from a broken cup. No, it's the shard. It's a broken shard from the glass jar. I mean, the unstable jar. Excuse me. Somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? There's someone else in here too, and a piece of cloth with a handprint on there. What's this? Looks like a piece of leather cloth. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wear a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Oh. Well, it's just a thought. Is that it? This is what was in... This is all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. So, Chief, what do you got with evidence of the SL9 incident and a piece of cloth with a handprint in this little safe of yours? A piece of cloth with a handprint on it and a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I just can't let you take them. After all, my neck is on the line here. Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's gotta be something we can show the detective. Okay. Let's start with the jar. Detective Gumshoe, did you have another look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. Ah, those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the shards that had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found? You mean this one? That was in the safe? Yes, that one. That was in the safe. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I could piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Here. There. It fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But, hey guys, get a load of this. What is it? This piece you just attached. It's different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line. That's blood. I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? Unstable jar updated. So, let's try looking at this thing. Hey, look here. It's hard to make out, but there's a dark red stain here. Looks like blood. This piece the Chief has is different, though. The blood stains on the other pieces are just spots. But this one's a line. So it is. That's odd. That is odd. I guess we can't do anything with this yet. Okay, what else can I present to you? The luminol testing fluid for fingerprints. Hey, I just bought some of that stuff. Now I can go around detecting blood traces too. Wow, is that a new type? I've never seen that ball before. Add 3 inches to your base height. Base height? Hey, let me see that. Looming tall. New and improved growth formula. What do you need this for? You're already plenty tall. You mean this can't detect any blood traces? Well, it's not quite the same thing as luminol. So that's why the lady at the counter had that smirk on her face. Well, why don't we talk a bit? That desk on the other side of the room. Is that your sister's? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk? No one except Chief Gant. And a Clee lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came in here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't be. No. No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay? Now then, let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on! Not so fast, buddy! Huh? What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal! You don't just let it go at that. Sorry. This guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? I'd say so, yes, considering he's hiding evidence. What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings. Yet. There you go, ignoring me again. I think I can still use the fluid, right? Not finding shit. Oh, hello. Look what we have here. Whoa. This area must have been covered in blood. Is this from that incident? It must be. When Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. 2 years have passed, so the reaction's kind of dull. So a murder really did take place here. Anything else? Anything at all? I'm not seeing shit. Let me try examine. No way, I can't. I gotta do something about that cloth. Wait, this thing. Duh, why did I think that... I forgot about the damn fingerprint set. Why did I think the luminol would work? What is wrong with me? Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to take a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints. That's a great idea, Detective. Alright, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead. Take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Huh? Come on, this isn't a time for jokes. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Oh. I knew that. You want the handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor? Somehow I don't think he was joking. Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then, once it's been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. Let's go with the middle finger. Why don't I just use the mouse for this? Okay. Come on. There we go. So, let's see whose print this is. Emma. Emma, what's your fingerprint doing on this cloth in the chief's, safe? No. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? Huh? It seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh. That's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Psst. Hey, you. Over here. What's going on here? What are that kid's prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Why? I mean, maybe if you showed that to her, maybe she might remember something. Here. Maybe you should hold on to this. Piece of cloth found in the chief's safe. Evidence for something, but what? Bears Emma Sky's prints. Well, was I any help? A lot. Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. No, that's not very kind, is it? Well, Sweet Shoe, I hope you're ready to go jump out that window. In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat? Eek! Chief Gant! We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window, and I saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective. Poor Sweet Shoe. Do you mean me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, you in the coat. Me, sir? Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But, sir... Now get out! Yes, sir! We'll be on our way too, then. Wait. You, the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You with the spiky hair. You're free to go. Mr. Wright! Well, shit. I think we need Spider-Man to break in there and get her out for us. Look, pal. If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? You gave me the ID. I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. That basically Chief Gant used the whole SL9 incident as an opportunity to gain control of both the police force and the prosecutor's office, effectively giving him an iron grip on the whole legal system. Yeah, I can totally see how you'd come to that conclusion. But why has she kept eerily silent about it all this time? Anyway, you listening to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over to Chief again. Good fucking luck, Sweet Shoe. Later, pal. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. Guess all we'll have to talk to is the other Sky sister. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really. I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. There's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. Alright. Why are you keeping quiet? I have to admit I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say? So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, who, may I ask, is this person you're speaking of? The one who I'm supposed to be frightened of? What is this person's name? Orange Man, of course! Well, Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the Chief Prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? Okay. We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before the Board of Inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other. Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. Maybe this piece of cloth? You want proof of the Chief's wrongdoings? Here it is! That evidence proves someone is doing something wrong, all right, but it's not the Chief. Who would it be? Why, you, of course. Did I present the wrong thing? Me? Yes. You seriously believe what you're saying, don't you? Now that's scary. You seem to have the makings of a criminal in you, with all your fallacious accusations. Care to spend tonight in a cell next to mine? If you ask me, you're the scary one. Okay, let's try again. Let's try the evidence list. I just found this in a safe in the Chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Why? What? I just presented the cloth. Why didn't it work the first time? Why did I have to present the damn list here? Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, even if that means being found guilty for murder. Well, now we know the truth of why you've been so uncooperative up until now. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate. I murdered Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Where are your orders? Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. His body. So I think you realize what this means, right, guys? Chief Gant knew about Bruce Goodman's body, meaning that he was murdered well before Angel Star saw Lana stab Goodman's body. And since we've established a possible time frame in which he was murdered with the ID list, and that we've more or less proven that 77777 is Gant's number. I think you understand where I'm going with this, right, guys? You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. So now the question is, with that last bit, why was his body in Edgeworth's car? So going over the evidence list again, Miles Edgeworth showed up at the precinct at around 4:40 p.m. and he went in there to get some evidence for the chief that he asked him to take over to the prosecutor's office. This screwdriver, to be precise. So, taking what we just learned here and putting 2 and 2 together, Goodman's body must have been put into Edgeworth's car around the time he showed up at 4:40 p.m. in order to get this evidence that the chief wanted him to bring over to the prosecutor's office. That's how the body was able to get over to the prosecutor's office for Lana to pick up. So, that would in turn explain why the screwdriver is still in our evidence list, despite seemingly having nothing to do with this case, because the truth of the matter is, it was Gant's excuse to bring Edgeworth over to the prosecutor's office, there along with his car. So then, the body could be stuffed inside his trunk for Lana to pick up later when Edgeworth would arrive at the prosecutor's office. Again, I'm pretty sure you guys all know where I'm going with this, right? Taking everything that we've got now, I think we can all deduce that Orange Man is not only bad, he is our murderer of Bruce Goodman. Or at the very least, he knew about the murder. Just as I suspected. But it's very unlikely that he just knew about it here, because if that's his number, then, well, yeah, he's our killer. Despite what everyone believes. You were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. Murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the SO9 incident. Serial killer Joe Dark's knife. I just couldn't leave that knife in him. So I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. Thus explaining the bandage and all that. And as the reason for the bandage on your right hand? Yes. It seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then, she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr, huh? So, Miss Starr was indeed telling the truth about seeing you stabbing the body. Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that, by whatever means possible. So, you hid Dark's knife. The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it. In Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right. Then I called my sister. To tell her what happened. And to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma. I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That'll explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling. The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. At least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean, not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman. He tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seemed he still had made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room. Well, I guess now we know the full truth of that whole thing. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. Well, tomorrow's it, ladies and gentlemen. Our final showdown in court. And I'm going to try to bring Orange Man to the stand. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.